Hi, welcome back to His and Hers. I'm Deanna.
And I'm David, and today we're going to talk about marriage, but not necessarily like marriage and what a marriage is about, but why are people so much in a rush to get married?
I know at least one person whose ink wasn't even dry on her divorce papers, and she's moving in with somebody else. Now they're married.
Yeah,
Like,
so what drives people that go from one relationship to another, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, fiancés, especially marriage? I mean, I have known a number of people that, well, friends of a number of people, I should say, that have told me stories how, you know, the wife's signing the divorce papers at City Hall, jumping across the hallway and signing a marriage certificate right then. And the interesting thing about that is people get married and they get used to a lifestyle. They get used to people living with each other, being dependent on each other, good or bad or whatever. But they're used to this lifestyle. They develop it because, everybody thinks the grass is green on the single side, and it really isn't. Single side's lonely, and single side is not consistent.
mm-hmm.
Things change, a lot of variables. But marriage, you get into a marriage, and you have one partner. You guys hopefully have friends. You hopefully have events. You know spend time together. Um, but that is the lifestyle you become accustomed to.
You know, thinking back on our one podcast that we did, the Why Do People Cheat? Uh, the cheaters, you know who you are. Uh, I had just read this article about this lady said that her husband cheating on her actually saved their marriage because she realized that they actually were good together, but it was because they got into too familiar of a rut, like he was saying. They were high school sweethearts, they rushed to get married, and then career wise, he was busy at work all the time and he ended up having an affair because she was too busy with the kids. And actually, that was their big wake up call. So sometimes it makes you wonder like, okay, people rush to get married, but do they really know each other? In their case, they didn't. They found out they really didn't know each other. And that's why the affair actually saved their marriage. I thought that was just an interesting twist.
I definitely have a different take on that. I just think people have affairs because their marriage gets boring.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, it becomes routine. So one of the secrets to a happy marriage is you got to have your life together, but you got to have a separate life also. You got to go with the guys, she goes out with the women, and you got to have fun because everybody likes feeling sexy and everybody likes feeling wanted and have a good time. And too much of a good thing is bad. But a lot of times when people get married and you throw in kids now, your life's about kids. It's not about you two anymore. It goes to kids. But people rush back into marriages. They get from a divorce to a marriage. And the reason why is because it's a lifestyle that they are comfortable with, that they know, that they're familiar with. Different person, same thing.
What makes you want? Who rushes more into marriage? Is it women or is it men?
Well, personally, with no proof whatsoever, I think women do because women are emotional. I told you, men are about logic, women are emotional. And I think women, in any bad marriage. So people stay in bad marriages. Why? Because, well, the kids, but being in waters that you know is more comfortable and better for you than the unknown
waters.
And how many people get divorced or separated and then months later get back together? Because the dating scene is not a fun place.
No.
Unless you're in your 20s.
That is true.
But once you outlive your 20s, you get married, maybe have kids, you get divorced, it's lonely because you don't have that companion with you. You don't have that security with you, and you miss it. And you realize, oh my God, I didn't know what I had till it's gone.
Yeah. a friend of mine, she was telling me, both her father and her grandfather did. They divorced, and they hurry up and rushed and married somebody else. And she said it was because they liked being taken care of by the woman. They missed that. So looking at it, because he said the women, because they're more emotional, but do men have this need where they want to be taken care of? They miss that, the little things like, dinner,
Absolutely.
all that, the pampering, all
like
that.
I said, no proof whatsoever. I just thinking logically here.
Right.
But and in bad marriages, usually when it does lead to a divorce, somebody already has somebody else on the side.
Yeah.
Somebody else is already being taken care of, and they are just good with, I need a divorce. Yeah, because you just don't do it for me. They don't tell their spouse that there's somebody else. And
they don't give them a chance, I think, to work it out too when there's somebody else involved, like you said. Sometimes if you just open, it goes back to communication that I always say.
It's all about communication, but it's about compromise, understanding, not just about communication.
No, yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and nobody's ever willing to actually do all the steps. Everybody wants, you want to go, you have to do it A, B, C, D, but everybody wants to go to A to Z without everything in between.
Yeah. So, and one of the things that really declines a marriage is the lack of sex.
Mm-hmm.
Sex is important. It's funny how we see it as such a bad, evil thing at times. I can't believe, with the sexual contents and what people are doing and all that. But I mean, we're very sexual creatures, and we need it. And when it goes from every day to twice a week to once a week to once a month to whatever, and
just his birthday and Christmas.
Yeah, it's only 2 days or we seem to look for other places. And why do we look for other places? Because it'd be new. It's not the same routine. It's new. So that, as we talked about earlier, why people cheat is the excitement and of getting caught, maybe, I don't know, but the excitement of being with somebody new that sparks your interest.
We know it too. A lot of people are afraid of being judged, I think. Like that's why like for girls, like we don't have a problem talking to each other like, hey, I wouldn't mind trying this or trying that with my husband. But when it comes to actually saying like, hey honey, I want you to tie me up, they're afraid to say it because they're afraid their husband's gonna think, are you a freak or something? Why we're afraid to be judged by our own spouse, that I can never understand, but I think that's a lot of the problem is they're afraid to actually say like, you know what, I read this in Cosmo, you think we can try it? People are afraid to try things too. I mean, everybody knows, the vanilla missionary, all that stuff, but like, hey, I want to try reverse cowgirl flying from a ceiling. They're afraid to speak up and say
trampoline with a trapeze.
Right.
So I mean, with marriage, those people have this idea and this concept of exactly what a marriage should be, and they lose sight of that when they are married over time. They lose sight of they can have what they want. They just aren't interested with whom they're with anymore, or they just lose that interest. And because somebody new, everybody likes a new car, everybody likes new furniture, everybody likes a new house. I mean, it's new, it's exciting, it's undiscovered in a sense. So, I mean, I think that is a huge reason. So when people get divorced and then they run across the hall to the other side and sign marriage papers right away, well, like I said in the beginning, one party is usually hurt because they get blindsided. The other party had this all planned out, and they don't mind because they're the ones that filed for it because they already have 30 being taken care of. Mm-hmm. So instead of, as you said earlier, of realizing all the things that they want, they can have, and trying to keep things interesting, mixing things up. Like I said, people give up, they find somebody new, but they love the concept of marriage. They love the idea. And that's what they go running to.
You know what, too, with women, and I blame Disney for this, and most girls are going to understand what I'm going to say. We got princess complex. We all think, oh, Prince Charming's just going to show up and we're going to live happily ever after. We really have that instilled in us. And they call it the Cinderella complex because you really think you're going to be with this guy forever. He's my Prince Charming. And you don't like your Prince Charming with now? Okay. Oh, look, there he comes. He's saving me from a bad marriage. Here's my Prince Charming. We
Not
got
really
princess
saving
complex.
from a bad marriage. He's just somebody new.
True.
But like I said, the concept of marriage people love.
Mm-hmm.
But look at the movie stars and those people. They freaking rotate husbands and wives like freaking we go through toilet paper.
Yeah.
I mean, the concept of marriage is great until you are actually in one and you go, my God, it's actually work.
It is. Any relationships work, truthfully. I mean, look at Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. Everybody knows they've never been married.
But in the beginning, it's not work. It's excitement.
Excitement.
You know, I've heard a song that is like, falling in love is easy, but keeping in love, that's what's difficult.
Yeah.
Making it work, that's the work. That's the hard part.
I think we give up. We give up is a problem too. We give up on it. So, like you said, find somebody more exciting. Oh, he's not doing it for me, so I'll go to this one.
It's pretty much anybody. Any new toy, in a sense, that, it just out with the old, in with the new, however you want to put it.
But look at how many people actually, they separate, they divorce, they all do that stuff. Then all of a sudden, years later, they come back to each other. Why? Because they're new and exciting again.
And somebody was telling me a story the other day that their husband was cheating. He's an attorney, was cheating on his wife. And they're getting a divorce and all that. So he's been hooking up with his secretary.
Of course.
And now that, I don't know how long it lasts. It wasn't a very long time, but now they're tired of each other. So now he's like looking for somebody else. The whole concept of being in a relationship is what people love. Because honestly, the singles isn't that great. Even people that are single usually have, you have friends that you hang out with. You have somebody you can hook up with. And then it's, okay, the best part about being single is I don't have everybody to answer to, kind of attitude. But
see, I think that's a problem with sometimes in relationships with what you just said. I know how many women like literally have put a leash on their husbands.
Or vice versa.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my God, they have to call each other like every 10 minutes. It's like, oh my God, you need the breathing room. And that's no wonder like the little waitress down the street looks a lot better because she's not, oh my God, what are you doing tonight? Okay, can you do this? Can you call me? Can you call me? The nagging. It's
the naggers.
The naggers. Yeah. So
definition of a spouse. Naggers.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is it always gets to that point to where if you spend all your time together, you will drive yourselves crazy.
Well, that's what they said with COVID. There was a lot of divorces because you actually were forced to spend time with your spouse and you realized you had nothing in common. There's a lot of divorces during COVID because that, like, oh my God, we're really not compatible because they were 24/7 up each other's ass, basically.
Yes, I did hear about that. So like I said, though, and I've repeated it a few times, like everybody loves the concept of marriage. Everybody thinks that has their own ideas and what marriage is going to be like and how great it is and all that, but they only look at the first year. They don't look at 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years, the rest of their lives in a marriage.
Well, I think everybody wants love. Everyone wants to be loved.
Everybody, especially when you get into a marriage and that becomes your lifestyle and that becomes your habits and that becomes what you're comfortable with because you've been doing it for so long. that not having that is uncharted water. And people don't know how to chart uncharted water to something new.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, because this could be another podcast idea. There's, because there is different types. It's, everybody knows, husband, wife, or man and man, I guess, or woman and woman. I'm not sure about what the terms are right now, but
spouse and spouse.
Spouse and spouse. But there are open marriages. There's the, what is it, polyamorous, I think is how you say it. You've got that going on too. So
Swingers.
So is that really a secret to a long-lasting relationship?
It's all about sharing. If you want to share and have a variety, well, you have to be okay with your spouse.
It goes back to communication too. You got to make sure you guys communicate and set your roles
boundaries,
and all the boundaries.
And they usually do. They have a good conversation, a big conversation about the rules and limits and everything.
Well, that's how the whole hall pass came. That was a thing for a while. People would give hall pass a week off from marriage. Yeah. And a lot of people said that actually helps them because their marriages go stronger because
too much of a good thing is bad.
Yeah.
Too much of anything is bad.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're going to eat nothing but cotton candy, you're going to get toothache eventually. So
you could have the best meal you ever had the first time you ever eat it. And like, oh, it's the greatest. By the time you're on your second and third and fourth, by the end of the week, I guarantee you it's not the greatest meal anymore.
No. That's why you need a little variety sometimes. But who rushes quicker to the altar, man or woman? I think it depends on the person too and their emotional level of what they want.
Touche. So as we were stating earlier, I mean, marriage. People get divorced and they're immediately getting back to being married. And it's because it's a comfort zone. It's what they're used to. And it's the thought process, the idea, everything about marriage. Their dream of what a good marriage is about. That's why. And that's why a lot of people that get separated or divorced remarry. Because that is what they're used to. Any elderly that I've run on as a firefighter, and one of them had a heart attack, the first thing out of their mouths is, don't let them die. Why? Because they can't see themselves living alone. Mm-hmm. They've had 30 years invested with this person, 40 years invested. They don't want to lose that investment.
Yeah, I've seen that in the hospital too, in the ERs. When you have somebody having a major heart attack or something, a stroke or anything, don't let them die. And
the first thing I hear out of their mouths is, please don't let them die on me. Don't let them die on me.
I had he was 99 and she was 97 and she was please don't let them die. I can't. And you're like, wow. Because they've been together over 70 years and they just couldn't imagine each other. And you hear the stories
and that is why most of the time, within 6 months, the other spouse will pass away.
Yeah, because she ended up passing away a couple of days later.
Because their heart's broken, their will to live is gone, and they're done.
But you know what? In all honesty, that whole thought of having somebody like that for almost your whole life, it is kind of romantic. I'm speaking from a woman's perspective here. That I had somebody I was with for 50 years, and they're gone, and you just can't live without them. It does have that romantic thing to it that the girls like, and that's why we like the romance. It's just how we are. It's our hormones, I guess, that makes us like romance.
So that is my reasoning. That is what my thoughts are on why people rush to get married so soon after any relationship, that they seem to dissolve.
Yeah, I think he's hit on the nail. A lot of times it's just nobody wants to be alone, and everybody wants that. Nobody wants to sleep in a cold bed alone. It's not fun. It's not fun to cuddle with yourself.
So on that note, thank you for watching.
Yep. And don't forget to check us out on YouTube. And we're also on Facebook under His and Hers Podcast. And you can also listen to us on Spotify. All right. Till the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.